I'm back with my toe-up socks, and today we are going to make the heel, pick up the stitches and make the heel. This is the socks so far. We have started at the toe over here and we have knit up, started at the toe here, increased to the number of stitches we wanted, then made a few rounds which I had asked everyone to note, that will make up the 2 inches of the toe, and then we had knit to the measurements that we had taken, and here is the diagram that we were referring to. So what we had done was made up these 2 inches, knit the foot, placed yarn for 2 inches before the heel, and then since when we place the yarn we would have these stitches and these stitches, so once that is done we knit the leg, made a few increases at the back for the calf muscle, and then we made up our cuff in a size smaller needle. So today we are going to make up this heel. So in order to do that, we will first take a look at our socks. We have this white yarn that I have right now, that is my waste yarn, and I need to take that out, and if I turn this inside out, my loose strands are still there, right? So that will help me take off the waste yarn. So now what I want to do is see where my waste yarn is beginning and go under that stitch. So this is where my waste yarn was beginning, and under that stitch is right here. I'm going to pick up one leg of the stitches. So if you see, our stitch has 2 legs, right? Left and right. I'm going to pick up either left or either right, and based upon that I'll have all my stitches live once the waste yarn is removed. So now I'm going one row down, picking up the right leg of the stitches below this waste yarn row. So I'll go slowly, 1, 2, and being sure to pick up only that strand and not split the stitches. 3, 4, 5, 6, and I'll continue all the way up to the end here. So it's my wish now if I want to pick up with 2 DPNs or 3 DPNs or 4 DPNs. So I've decided I'll pick up with 4 DPNs. It'll be easier to knit right now. So almost halfway through, and then I'm going to start with my other one. So that is the stitch that I need to pick up. So I need to make sure I'm not missing a stitch. 1. So to the end of the row, I'll keep picking up these stitches. And it'll be easier if you want to pick up the stitches with a smaller needle. I think that would be easier in the beginning, and then in the next row just switch to your regular needle that you would be using to knit the socks. And now for the last stitch here. So that is done. One needle, one needle, needle one, needle two, and maybe on this side I'll just pick up these stitches with one needle. So again I'll see where the yarn is starting. So in my case, this is the strand, right? So I'll pick up stitches from here, just under that strand, and I'll start and I'll continue picking up the same leg. If I picked up the left leg in the beginning, I'll keep picking up the left legs. If I'm picking up the right leg, I'll keep picking up the right leg. That'll be easier to knit in the first round, just for consistency and being sure not to split any stitches.
It might be a little bit metal pointy needles. These bamboo needles are a bit blunt, so it's difficult to pick up the stitches. And that is my last stitch.
That was my last stitch. So now I have picked up these stitches. In order to make them live, I just need to take off the waste yarn. So that is how I pull off from the end, from one end, just start pulling it off. A yarn needle might help at this stage. Keep pulling this off the stitches and they'll become live. Yeah, let me pick up a yarn needle. There, much easier. One. So I'll keep doing that, and once I'm done taking these off, I'll take these off and then I'll come back and show you. So here I've picked up one side of the stitches and here are my live stitches. I'm just going to unravel the second row that I had knit, loosen the yarn and then start pulling it through from here, and once I'm done with this I'll be ready to knit, and this comes off easily, and that's it. Those are my live stitches. Now I'm going to start knitting when the toe is down and the cuff is here. I'm going to start knitting from this side here. So now I'll need some stitch markers. This is my tin of stitch markers, and you can find this on my Etsy shop, krityumhandmade.etsy.com. The link would be in the down description box below the video. I have all sorts of my handmade stitch markers here, and some bought ones, these that I had bought, and some of these that I had made. These are snag free, and these are my favorite kinds, the round stitch markers. So we need these, and we'll need this live stitches, and then we need our yarn. So I'm using this yarn ball, yarn skein, and it's center pull, so I'm using the yarn from the center. In order to start knitting, we need to ensure that so as you know, we had made 2 rows here, so there'll be a bit of a gap when we pick up all the stitches and start knitting. So in order to close that gap, we need to pick up some extra stitches here and here, and those will be decreased in the rounds ahead. So what we need to do is, this is my stitch, the first from the right needle on the top. See, here is the toe, cuff, live stitches, and I'll start knitting from this gap. In order to do that, I need to let's see if I can get that angle. So these are the stitches that are below the row of stitches that is running right next to our live stitches. So in order to close the gap, either pick up this stitch and put it through this stitch on the needle like that. So I'll show that again. Pick up the stitch leg here. It's not not exact, so either pick up this or pick up this, whatever suits you or looks good to you. Once you pick up, it'll be like this. So maybe I'll pick up this one. It's a bit tighter, and again being sure not to split the yarn, and then take it through this needle here, and then I'll start attaching my new yarn from the skein. So what I'll do is I'll keep it like this and make like a U, inverted U here, and this is the part that I'm going to insert in the needle here like that, and then holding both of them, try to pick up that, pull that yarn through those 2 strands on the needle. Might be a bit tedious, so what you could do is use a crochet hook maybe for the first row, and that should make it easy. So there first, and then pick up one more. 2, and now leave the tail and start knitting with this yarn that is directly from the skein. 1, and then I need another one. So let's see how we're going to do this. This stitch and this stitch together. So essentially, no, I split the stitch there. I have to be careful not to split the stitch. 1, and pick up one more here. So I have 2 extra. One was knit with the live stitch on the right needle, 2 more, and now the last one. Like that, and then start knitting across. So that's the first needle done. Now I need one split ring marker in order to mark the beginning of my round. Alrighty, so where did I put those? Give me a second, I'll get the so maybe this will stand out more, and I'll put this in the beginning in order to mark my beginning of round. Right, so that's my beginning of round, and this needle is already knit. Now going on to the next needle. And now same thing over here on this side. So in order to close the gap, pick up 2 extra stitches, 1 and then oops, right, 1 let's pick up this one too, I'm being sure not to split the yarn. There. So sometimes using the other needle will help. So that's two extra stitches, and then in order to close this gap, let's see which stitch should we use. This one and this one together. Nope, that still makes a gap. Oh, we'll have to find another one. So maybe this one, oh, that's the same stitch. Alrighty, so this one and a stitch on the needle. And that loop should be closed. Right, so that gap is completely shut off, and now knit across. And I'm back to my first stitch, which I'm going to drop because it was already knit with the other one. Right, now I've already placed my marker, and I'm going to begin by knitting. Now how do I start the second round? In order to close this big gap here, pick up this stitch. Oh, maybe you can't see that. So this gap that is occurring here, pick up this stitch, only this stitch, and then knit it with the first stitch on this needle. and the first stitch will be loose because there is a loose yarn tail hanging here, so we can tighten that later when we weave in our ends. So we need to take this from this stitch as well as this loop, and that will tighten that gap. And once we pull that yarn here in the back, you see there is no gap anymore, and keep knitting. So the first round was already done, and as per my calculations, which you will have done for yourself, I need 4 more rounds to make the 2 inches. So my first one is done, so I need 3 more. So I'll continue with my 3 rounds and be back when I'm done. And from here on, it's just simple three rounds more of knitting. So I'll be back once I'm done with that. So now I have picked up all my stitches, and I have knit my extra rounds to make up my 4 inches, 2 inches of the heel, which is 4 extra rounds for my case, and you will have calculated your own. And after that, with the technique that we had picked up, you will see there is no gap, and it's a good way to pick up stitches for your afterthought heels. Now after the 4 rounds, we need to start beginning our heel decreases, and that should make the heel look exactly like the toes. So in the beginning, we had increased after 1 stitch and increased before the last stitch on the after 1 stitch here and before the last stitch here, then after 1 stitch, before the last stitch. So we're going to do the same here for the heel, decrease after 1 stitch and before the last stitch. So before that, we need to decrease the 2 extra stitches that we had picked up here. So one was the gap closing, first was the gap closing with the first stitch, first live stitch on the right needle, which was shifted here eventually. Then there were 2 extra stitches that we had picked up, and then we had knit up all the live stitches. So first we need to decrease those. In order to do that, there needs to be 2 decreases here on this end and 2 decreases here on this end. So in the first round, that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to do a right leaning decrease with a knit 2 together here, right, with the live stitch that we had and then the extra stitch that we picked up. So knit 2 together, that's a right leaning decrease. And then immediately I'm going to decrease with a left leaning decrease, which will be a slip slip knit. And I do my slip slip knit a bit differently. Instead of slipping purlwise 2 stitches and then knitting, I do knitwise slip first stitch, insert needle into the second stitch, and then bring the left needle into the already stripped stitch and then knit those 2 together. So that becomes a left leaning decrease, and it makes for a nice slip slip knit in coordination with the knit 2 together here. And that's my first 2 decreases. So basically now that is the middle of my first of the round from where we need to start decreasing. So I need to place 1 stitch marker here. So for that, I'll just slip this onto my left needle for a second. Place my stitch marker here and then slip this back. Okay, so my my decreases would be either side of these two stitches, not these two stitches but either side of these two stitches. So from here I'll just knit to the other end. And now I need to decrease in the last 4 stitches. I need to again make those 2 decreases. Now how do I do that? Again, a right leaning decrease here, which will be a knit 2 together, insert my needle through the first 2 stitches and knit them together. That's my right leaning. And for my left leaning, slip knitwise, insert right needle into the left stitch and left needle into the right stitch and knit these 2 together, and that will be my left leaning decrease. And what I'm going to do is place a marker here. Again, slip momentarily to the left needle, place my marker and slip it back. Right? So my increases would be after this stitch and before this stitch, and here we'll knit to the end of the round. So if you remember, we started with 12 stitches for the toe, so we need to decrease till those 12 stitches for the heel, because we are making reverse of the toe. So now this round, in order to remove this marker, I'm going to just slip this first stitch to the right needle, and now I can remove this marker here. And now whenever I come to the end of this needle, 3 stitches before, I'll make my decrease. For this round I'm already done, so I just need to knit that stitch and this is done. Knit 1 row simple to the end. And I'm knitting and knitting and knitting and completing my round all around. This marker is fine. So eventually this is my beginning of the round marker and this is my second decrease marker. Beginning of the round marker can act as my starter indicator for my first set of decreases here. And then I'm gonna go ahead, complete this row round, since we're knitting in the round now. Make sure your first stitch on every needle is tight on the DPN so you don't get a ladder. And from here I'll start my decreases every other round. How are we doing that? We are going to knit 1 stitch. The beginning of the round marker can be moved up now. So I'm just gonna place it here to indicate my beginning of round. Alright, so the rhythm that we start now would be the rhythm that goes to the end of the heel. knit 1 tight, and then I need to make a left leaning decrease here because we are going to make a heel that is shaped like this. So this would be a left leaning decrease or a right leaning decrease. We just need to be consistent with whatever we choose. And then here we do the opposite. So left leaning here, right leaning here. So left leaning decrease goes knit 1, slip, insert the needle, knit. Left leaning, keep going with your knitting. To the next, and to the 3 stitches before the next marker. So we have 3 stitches left now. Now a right leaning decrease, which is opposite of the left leaning decrease. Knit 2 together. Knit 1, slip the marker, knit 1, and then your left leaning decrease again. So slip, insert needle and knit and make it tight. Keep knitting 2-3 stitches before the end. We'll keep going 3 stitches before the end, okay? And then a right leaning, knit 2 together, knit 1, and that's my decrease round. So we are going to do this decrease round followed by a simple knit around and alternate those two till we have 6 stitches left. So there will be 3 stitches on this needle, 3 on this, and 6 on this, and that will be a total of 12 stitches, which we had started with over here. And then we are going to do Kitchener stitch. So I'll do all that and then be back. Here we are. I'm on the last round of decrease, and then we are going to go ahead and do our Kitchener. So again, a recap of the decrease. Knit 1 from the starting marker, slip, insert your needle, knit, that is SSK, my way, and that is a left slanting decrease. Knit 2-3 stitches before the next marker, which I'm already there, and knit 2 together, knit 1, slip marker, knit 2 together, knit 1, slip marker, knit 1, slip, slip, knit, my way, which is slip knitwise, insert needle, no splitting of yarn, insert needle, insert your left needle, knit 2 together, knit 2-3 stitches before the end, which is right here. Knit 2 together, knit 1, and I'm back to the beginning of the round marker, and here's what I have so far. You see this flap? These are the decreases on the sides where we are leaving the 2 stitches, so one on this side and one this side of the marker we had left as a knit, and then we started decreasing here. This is a slip slip knit which goes left side, this is a knit 2 together which goes on the right slant, then again 2 stitches knit, and then the same thing here, slip slip knit, left slant, knit 2 together, right slant, and that's the end of the round. and we are going to start our Kitchener stitch now. In order to do that, I'm going to put the needles from these two needles on one single needle. So I'm just going to slip them across to one needle. So now I have just two needles, and I will remove this marker as I come to it, and my yarn is at the back. This is how it shows right now. Yarn is at the back needle. Here's my toe, here's my cuff. And now find a yarn needle. I'm going to use a tapestry needle with a big eye. Cut the yarn with at least a 6 to 12 inch, no, actually not a 12 inch. So the trick to this is spread your needles on, spread your stitches on the needle, wrap this yarn once loosely, twice loosely, thrice loosely, and then leave about 2 to 3 inches and then cut the yarn, and that will give you ample yarn for the Kitchener stitch. And I'm looking for my yarn cutter now. Oops, I'll just use a scissor. So I'm leaving about 3 to 4 inches here after my 3 loosely loose rounds, wraps and cut. I'm ready for my Kitchener now. So unwrap this whole yarn tail and thread it through the needle. Ready? Here's how we start. Yarn is at the back. Knit, put the needle in as if to, yarn is coming from the back here. My two needles are parallel. Yarn is coming from the back. Come in front. Put the needle through the first stitch as if to knit. Slip, and then put the needle through the next stitch as if to purl, but don't slip it off. First stitch. Alright, and now take the needle behind, put the needle as if to purl, slip, and then put the needle as if to knit, don't slip. Right? And it's gonna work itself fine once it's done. Again, knit, slip, as if to knit, slip off from the front needle, as if to purl, don't slip off in the front needle, as if to purl, slip off in the back needle, as if to knit, don't slip off in the back needle. Keep doing that. As if to knit, slip off front needle, as if to purl, don't slip off front needle, as if to purl, slip off back needle, as if to knit, don't slip off back needle, as if to knit, slip off front needle, as if to purl, slip don't slip off front needle, as if to purl, slip off back needle, as if to knit, don't slip off back needle. So we go front to back to front to back and keep doing that until we have exhausted all our stitches. Now, as if to knit, slip front needle, slip the marker off, as if to purl, don't slip off front needle. Alright, as if to purl, back needle, slip off, as if to knit, don't slip off back needle. Now, as if to knit, slip off, and there is no other stitch on the back needle. We are done. Here, as if to purl, back needle, slip off, as if to knit, don't slip off. And that was my last, so I'll just, now this is what I have. It's pretty loosey goosey, and now I'm going to just pull it. Now the easier way would be put my hand through and tighten these stitches. 1, 2, 3. Keep tightening these. Alright, find the next stitch to tighten this. Alright, perfect. Keep tightening. So basically I'm pulling each leg, and as I pull, it's tightening the stitch until, and I'm going to keep pulling it till I come to that last stitch. Almost there. Now I just pull this, and look at that. Right, so that's my Kitchener. I'm gonna put my yarn through to, it's like this right now, so I'm going to put the yarn through to the back, to the inside of the socks. And pull. Once I wear this is going to be fine. The beginning is pointing up a bit, but it's going to be fine once I wear the socks. And that's how you do the Kitchener. And for the time being, I'm just tucking the needle here. Just take a look at my socks. Perfect. I'm going to take this marker off. And that looks exactly like a toe. That's my toe. Right? So that's my completed socks. And to put it in the more conventional way, there you go. That's my whole socks. All it needs is a bit of blocking and we will be good to wear it. But this is acrylic yarn, so I just need to steam it a bit, and that should do the trick. So that's my socks, and you see there is no gap here. There is no gap here. And now I'm going to turn this inside out to weave in all my ends. Alrighty. So bring my yarn needle to weave in my end. What I'm going to do is make use of these pearl bumps here. Pick up and go through some of these diagonally, not straight. Like that. Right? And stretch the sock and then go back down diagonally on a different set of stitches. stretch, and then go back up a last time on a different set of stitches, again diagonally, stretch, and done. And now I'm going to just snip the yarn. If you want, you can secure with a knot in the beginning here and then start weaving it in. And that's what I'm going to do here on this end. I don't know why this is sticking out, but I'm going to fix it in while weaving in the end. So again, thread my needle, now secure it first with a knot. This is the toe. You might want a knot, might not want a knot, so depending on your preference, either secure it or not and just weave in the ends. That's one, and I'll start weaving in on this side diagonal. All right, stretch, and then go back down on the diagonal, stretch, go back up once more, again on the diagonal, stretch, and we are good. So I'll just snip this off, and I'm done. What is this sticking out? Oh yes, this is the yarn that we had joined for the heel, so we need to secure that. Thread again through the needle, secure with a knot, okay, a square knot is always secure, but this should be good. And pick up stitches on the diagonal, weave in your ends on the diagonal, right? Go through, stretch, and this is a short tail end. I will leave a longer one next time, and I'll just, so this is the trick with short, just thread, put your needle through back down on the diagonal through the different set of stitches that you want to go in while weaving in. When you come back down, and then thread your needle, and stretch. That's it. Now the whole sock has been woven in, and I'll turn it inside out, right side out. So when I steam this, I'm going to place my iron a little bit above the surface and then steam it, and then just pat with my hand, turn it, pat with my hand again, steam it once more, pat with my hand, and I should be done. And that's it. So I'm going to now steam it and wear it and show it. Thanks. And that's the finishing of the sock. I'm just gonna wear it now. Thanks for taking a look, and give me a thumbs up if you like the video. Subscribe to my channel, and please take a moment to like my Facebook page at facebook.com/Krityum handmade. Thank you.